We're taking a look back at the Sixers just so we can make fun of Joel Embiid and James Harden for a couple of segments, but I swear we will make it up to you with a lot of Miami Heat talk at the end of this podcast. It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day, especially for you subscribers who get this show directly to your devices whenever you fire up that podcasting app that you love to use. The show will be there once it drops if you're subscribed. So do that, and also subscribe to the show on YouTube. Get into that comment section. Tell us what you think about Philly, talk about Miami coming up, all the kind of stuff that's about in this podcast today. I'm John Karalis. I played ball once upon a time. Now I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal. Today's show brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Today, bringing in my buddy Tom_NBA.
What up?
Basically, we got 3 segments to cover 2 topics. We'll start with a look back at Philly. And, basically, we're just going to make fun of Joel Embiid and James Harden for a little while. Then we're going to look ahead to the Miami Heat series.
Your first time making fun of Joel Embiid.
I know, it's really twisting my arm. He's like, you know what? A lot of people have made a lot of great points. Let me tell you something. I just posted, before we're recording this on Monday night, I just posted my look back on Boston Sports Journal, and it's just very heavy on the Joel Embiid is a front runner, James Harden is a fraud. Why do people think Daryl Morey is good at his job? I just really just laid into Philly. At the end of it, I basically wrote, you know what? I guess I just don't really respect the 76ers a whole lot.
That feels like as good a transition as any. Like, I just feel like that's the sentiment in Boston now, right? Like, if you've been watching this team for a long time, why would you respect the Sixers? Why would you no? And it's like you could, why would you respect them? Why would you fear them? Right? Like, I have some respect for Joel Embiid, more than you do, I think. I think I don't know that he would have been my MVP, but like he would have been in, number 2, right? Like, he's
3 for me.
3 for you. Sure. That's completely fine. Like, the 2 guys who are ahead of him are generational talents. Like Joel Embiid, I think he's just a monster of a basketball player. But like, it's just so predictable. It's like how the Celtics can beat these guys. And I'm saying this, on the heels of, I think the last time I was on this podcast, I was just like, I don't know, the Celtics need to show me. And then the Celtics showed me, and it's like, okay, fool me 18 times,
So
76ers, shame on me. Like, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, why would anybody in Boston respect these guys?
Well, okay, so it goes back to like, I'm not coming at this from like some sort of long-standing, I'm an old and back to Moses Malone, and I'm going back to Will Chamberlain, Philly. But no. Each team has its lovable and hateable eras. Some more than others. But the thing, starts with the process. It starts with Sam Hinkie. It starts with a process that I've hated from the beginning.
Right.
And I just didn't like the extremes to which they took it. Okay, fine. They get Embiid the first 2 years. He comes in. Immediately, the stories that he's immature. He's drinking Shirley Temples by the gallon. He's just not grasping NBA life. Okay, he's a rookie, whatever. But he kind of has been slow to mature. And the thing that gets me is just how much of a front runner he is. when things are going great, I always say, when he does this thing to the crowd, that's when you know you're cooked, because he's feeling good. He's there's just nothing you can do about an Embiid who's got the confidence level of this guy, waving it on from the crowd. But when things aren't going well, you cannot get that back. He is quick to blame people, quick to throw some level of tantrum, quick to just not take responsibility. And when he's the guy who faded, when he's the guy, now I say this with the full acknowledgement that he was playing hurt.
Yeah.
And credit to him for playing hurt. And credit to him for being the MVP. Congratulations. You deserve it. I'm not sitting here. I would have gone Jokic, Giannis, Embiid, but that's just me. I'm not saying that, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, Joel, got robbed. This is Steve Nash. Or like, no, I respect the MVP.
Yeah.
But when you go out there and drop 15 points and get shut down by 37-year-old Al Horford again, don't go post-game and start being like, well, James and I can't do it by ourselves. Like, what are you talking about? You couldn't do it at all.
Okay, I do think that quote was taken so out of context. I will say, like if you look at the full context of that quote, a lot of what he was saying was just like, yeah, I mean, like, I think, everybody's got to come back better, like, and he's, he took responsibility kind of during, like, basically he said, hey, if I'm the best player on the team, then every loss is on me. Like, this is on me. I also think my other take on that particular quote, he talked for 21 minutes post game. Like, that is
that's an extraordinarily long time to be talking post game.
Team Transcribe would have needed at least 4 people on that.
But that was also his exit interview. I will say, if the Celtics had lost Game 6 or Game 7, Al Horford would have spoken for 21 minutes.
Totally. My point is just that in 21 minutes of talking to the media and facing tough questions, it's going to be hard not to say something aggregatable. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably going to say something.
Fine.
That's my only point on that quote.
But it still fits the profile.
It is uncomfortably close to the profile. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, I can sit here and be like, yeah, if the podcast sucks, it's on me, man. It's my podcast. I'm the guy. I mean, I can't carry every co-host.
Tom's got to get better too. We all have to get better. Tom's got to get better.
Bring somebody on, he's got to carry his own weight. Well, but it's on me. Like the but it's on me is not a bulletproof shield. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can sit there and throw the platitudes out there, but when you get to the heart of what you're saying, like, I don't care. I don't care about the other stuff. He's supposed to say that.
Yeah.
I've seen Joel Embiid in a locker room basically crying when he hasn't played well. It's just in a win. So it's just not something. I just don't respect the front running nature of him. Like, I can sit here and be like, he basically bullied people into voting for him into the MVP. If I really want to go down that road, Jokic made it easy. Jokic made it easy by basically mailing in the last few weeks of this. Yeah. They're comfortably in first. The Nuggets started to slip. Jokic was just like, you know what? Don't want to hear the noise. I'm getting ready for a playoff run. I don't want to hear anything else. Fine. You don't want to make me a 3 consecutive MVP? Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. So great. Joel gets it. I said Joel was going to get it at the beginning of the season because I felt like voter fatigue was going to set in. People were going to get sick of voting for Jokic. Embiid was going to has been crying about getting the MVP or not getting the MVP for 3 years now. So I feel like people are like, yeah, I'm kind of sick of the Jokic thing. And God, I just want to shut Embiid up. So here's your MVP. Shut up. Do something with it. You know what I mean? Like, he still hasn't got out of the second round in 10 years, 8 years of his NBA. How are you that good and you can't get out of the second round? Not with Jimmy Butler, not with, and I know Kawhi and the bounces and all that stuff, but come on, man, you're that good. Get out, win more than one playoff series per playoffs.
I do agree with you. I mean, the devil's advocate in me wants to say, there is something to be said for the teams that he played against, right? Like, he's been beaten by really good teams generally. Like the Celtics team is really good. Like, I think, like they took him to 7. That's not,
Yeah,
nobody favored them. All that said, I'm playing too much devil's advocate here because now it's, we're almost to the break and I didn't even get a chance to dump on James Harden, who
oh no, you can do that next.
to me, I think is the real, like that's the guy. Like, dude, every year, it's every year.
I know.
I don't know.
You put those two together. I mean, just those two together on a playoff run. What did you expect? I'm surprised.
I mean, that's the case. That's the case for your Daryl Morey case right there, right? Like that was your solution. Was like, okay, I got this guy who has struggled to get beyond the second round in the playoffs. What should I do?
Yeah,
James Harden.
Yeah,
that's the guy.
Like my one comment, because my when I wrote the thing, my Morey section was very simple. If you are just going to consistently hitch your wagon to James Harden, I mean, you get what you deserve. Like, at some point, your judgment has to be questioned, right? Like, okay, let's take a break. I know this is Locked On Celtics, but Locked On Celtics, Locked On crap on the Sixers is fine for one day before we head into the Miami stuff. Tomorrow will be a crossover podcast with the Locked On Heat people. So those guys, Wes Goldberg, Dave Ramil, great guys, do a great job on Locked On Heat. You won't like their predictions. I've listened to their show. They're riding high. We'll talk about that next. Oh man, let's talk about Gametime. The Gametime app is going to help you get these last minute tickets. Hey, you didn't expect to go to Miami, right? Are you down in the Miami area? You're like, oh wow, now I'm getting tickets. You can get these last minute tickets there to game 3 and 4 down there. I'm losing count. Wow. Gametime app. Fast, easy way to get your tickets for sports, music, comedy, theater. You don't have to have like 6 months of planning in advance. Spur of the moment. Take your significant other out. Say, hey, let's go to the show tonight. I got the Gametime app. Boom, boom, boom. You get the flash deals, last minute tickets. Very easy to find and buy the tickets. You can seat the views from the seats. You know exactly what you're getting, and there's a low price guarantee. Event cancellation protection, job loss protection, all kinds of things. So forget planning all those months in advance. You can get your tickets sent directly to your phone, so you never have to dig through your email. 2 taps, boom, boom. You got yourself last minute tickets. Fun night out, whether it's at the game, the show, a comedy show, whatever. Snag tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Head on over. Like I said before, Locked On Heat. Check them out. Listen to the enemy. See what they're saying. This way, when you hop into their YouTube page, you know what to, you know how to counter them. Where their fans come into our YouTube page, you know how to counter them. So check that out. Let's get Tom Westerholm in here. All right, James Harden. 3 straight games without scoring fourth quarter points. He wasn't brought in there to be the main guy.
No.
But he was brought in there to be one of their stars.
Oh, yeah.
And do stars score fourth quarter points?
Well, the Sixers do have experience with a star who didn't score points or shoot threes or shoot at all. So, I mean, familiar territory here, I guess.
Maybe it's just that long-standing point guard tradition in Philly of not scoring. Is it a religion? Maybe it's a religious thing. Maybe there's a Philadelphia religion when you're a point guard. Maybe it's just an obscure sect that doesn't believe in scoring in fourth quarters.
I mean,
do we respect his religious rights, Tom, or not?
I mean, Markelle Fultz, continued that. It's
just whatever. I don't know what it's called, but clearly too much of a coincidence for all of their point guards to be absolute garbage in the playoffs.
I mean, Harden, the thing is, all Harden had to do was be reasonable, right? And he this whole series, I don't know, man. He had the huge games, he had, the terrible games, and it felt like all he needed to really shake off a lot of the maybe not all of the playoff narrative around him, but at least some of it was just played decently well in Game 7 because he bailed the Sixers out twice. He had 2 awesome games and 2 awesome games down the stretch, like clutch performances. And like, and I mean, he had plenty of opportunities. He had shots that he could have taken. He had moments that he could have taken over, and just nothing. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of wild to watch somebody like him, a veteran like him who's been around for so long, and just to juxtapose him against Tatum, right? Who in the biggest moment of his career just backpacked everyone. And it's just like, yeah, let's go, guys. Like I am like, this is my redacted, right? like and it, you can't deny it. Like, to see like a 25-year-old doing that, and then this veteran who's won multiple MVPs and has been, one of the top scorers in the NBA for so long, just completely shrinking from the exact same moment in such a bizarre juxtaposition to watch.
With everything that we've said, and I've read a lot of the Philly stuff, lots of negative press, let's say, in Philadelphia. With everything that was written, with everything that's being said on Philly podcasts, the absolute worst thing that a Sixers fan could hear is when Jayson Tatum said, "They had us."
Oh my gosh.
They had us. Like, to hear Jayson Tatum admit, at the end of the third quarter, they had us. We were on the ropes. To admit that, to say, after 3 quarters of Game 6, we were there for the taking. And to know that the reason that game wasn't taken was because James Harden was a no-show.
Yep.
That has to just be a killer. Because Tatum sucked on offense for 44 minutes. Had literally, I think it was 4 minutes and 18 seconds of just all of a sudden domination. And they won by double digits. It was a last second bucket that it was a double digit win. How do you go through all of that and lose by double digits in that game when their star player said, basically, we were losing that game. They were just out on their feet. It needed one more punch, one more knockout blow, and they couldn't land it. That right there is Sixers basketball. Right there. No matter what, through the years, and oftentimes at the hands of the Boston Celtics, whenever they had a chance to take it, they never, ever, ever could. That's it. Period. End of story. Process is dead.
I think it is, because like, if you're a Sixers fan now, right? Like, how do you trust this team at all, ever? Like you can't. Like, this was like the transcendent Joel Embiid year. This was it. Like,
year.
You had to not finish like this. I'm kind of speechless. Like, I don't know what you do next. Like, I know there's been a lot of talk about like trading guys and all that stuff, and it's like, I mean, I don't know. Like,
man,
goodbye Harden, goodbye Doc.
Harden,
like,
goodbye Doc. Yep.
I don't know. Like, but even then, right? Like, let's say you rebuild the team around Embiid and you have this like structure that seems to make sense. Do you trust Embiid? Like, I mean, do you, like, whether it was health or not? Okay, let's say, I do think he was probably pretty limited in Game 7 by that knee, and I too, like, I'm with you. I give him credit for trying to battle through that. That's tough. It's hard to play through injuries, but even in that instance, like, how do you trust that he's going to stay healthy? How do you trust that he's going to be there when you need him in the second round in a Game 7 that in a Game 6 that you absolutely have to have, in a Game 7 that you obviously have to have? Like, I don't know how you trust that anymore.
You don't.
You just literally don't. Yeah.
You just don't. Yeah. I'm going to sit here and gladly watch the Sixers burn because, like I said at the top, like it was obvious in their podcast, like, people have been getting on me over the course of this series. No, I don't have respect for the 76ers. I don't. This iteration, run by Morey, coached by Doc, headlined by Embiid and Harden, I do not respect that team. I'm sorry, not sorry. It's just how it is. And I don't think I'm alone. I have so much disrespect in me. I dedicated 2 full segments of my Celtics podcast to basically pissing on the ashes of the Sixers after the fact. And I'm not afraid. Like, people might get mad at me for it. People might be like, this is the most petty, just spiteful, hateful podcast you've ever done. And I admit it. I admit it. I'm dedicated a lot of time. The Celtics are in the Eastern Conference Finals. People are yelling at me right now. John, Celtics are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Talk about Miami now.
They were there last year. They played Miami last year. Just listen to one of those pods.
All right, no. Well, we'll talk about Miami. Let's talk about the Heat next. Come on, Celtics fans. Come on.
Also, I want to say I respect the Sixers more than the Hawks. Okay.
Fair enough. Any self-respecting Celtics fan is enjoying one more. Sometimes some teams just need a little extra dirt kicked on them. Just a little extra, and this is one of those teams. We'll be back. Miami, Eastern Conference Finals. We'll talk about that next. First, you want to be a millionaire? I'd love to be a millionaire. Play PrizePicks. They're giving away every day through the playoffs, through the finals. One PrizePicks user gets a chance at becoming a millionaire. All you got to do is place your entry after 8 a.m. Eastern. One of you who does that will be randomly selected. You will get a 6-pick flex. The following payouts. Get all 6 right, $1 million. 5 right, 80,000. 4 right, 16,000. So there's a lot of reasons to play. PrizePicks.com/million. Go there. Opt in. Once you opt in, you play like normal. All the details are at PrizePicks.com/million. That's how you opt in. Then you play daily fantasy. You pick 2 to 6 players. You can win a lot of money normally, but win up to 25 times your money. It's not competing against other people. It's just you against projections. More or less than the PrizePicks projection. You get it right, you win. And it's on every sport you can think of watching. Go there, make your picks. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. Safe and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Go to prizepicks.com or download the PrizePicks app. You get a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. So any amount you deposit up to $100, they match it. You got to use the promo code Locked On. Sign up for an instant deposit match. Sign up. You might become a millionaire. All right, Tom. Celtics playing the Miami Heat. The Miami freaking Heat. Losers of a play-in game. Mm-hmm. We said, oh, wow, the Hawks did the Celtics a favor. They don't have to play Miami. They can avoid that first-round headache.
They did. The Hawks did do the Celtics a favor, and the Celtics did avoid a first-round headache.
Yeah.
They just put it off a little bit, but get your Advil ready.
The second round, well, they played the Knicks in the second round, so, that's the Knicks weren't all that great. Anyway. But good season for them.
Absolutely.
So now here we are. Very importantly, no Tyler Hero.
Yes.
No Victor Oladipo.
Correct.
And Jimmy Butler nursing an ankle issue. Basic 30,000 foot view. I feel like the Celtics have basically every matchup here. Bam Adebayo is probably the one that they don't, or at least it's debatable.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler is debatable because playoff Jimmy is just a god.
Yes.
And, I was listening to Locked On Heat, and they're saying if you put all of these players into a draft, all the Celtics and all the Heat players, who do you pick first? They pick Jimmy Butler first. And now, okay, right? So we're like, I think the answer is Tatum.
Yeah.
I think the answer is Tatum. Tatum did drop pretty easy 51 in this last game 7.
Yeah.
But playoff Jimmy. Look, I just spent two segments expressing a significant amount of disrespect for an NBA team.
Yes, you did.
I will now spend a segment expressing a significant amount of respect
yes, sir.
for an NBA team.
Yes, sir.
Because you cannot make fun of Heat culture. You can make fun of how people say Heat culture all the time. You can make fun of what that has become. Can't make fun of Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Kevin Love, the shell of Kevin Love, Jimmy Butler dragging his way through, and Bam Adebayo, who's legitimately awesome, backed up by Duncan Robinson, who they were desperately trying to move, couldn't move.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry, who is just finding a way. Caleb Martin. That team is in the conference finals.
Yes, it is.
That team is in the conference finals.
And not for nothing, their path to the conference finals included beating Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I mean, that, and you know what the thing is? The best way I can express respect for the Heat, that team got to the finals and nobody's like incredulous over it. Yeah. I'm saying it the way I'm saying it, but am I surprised that team got to the conference finals? No, because Jimmy Butler's surprised, but not like, oh my God, I'm in shock. Like I'm saying all of these names.
Yeah.
But like, Spo's the coach and
they've been here before. Like
they know.
Yeah.
This is the best way I can put it, man. They know who they are. And this is exactly what I want the Celtics to be, man. They know who they are and they are who they are 100%. Yeah. They do what each person is supposed to do to 100% of their ability. No one tries to do anything outside of who they are. They know who the star is. They know who the other guys are. Everybody knows what they're supposed to do. The coach gets really creative and everybody's just all in. Everybody is all in, same page, same everything. This is why I look at a series like this and I say, on paper, Celtics should win this thing easily.
Yeah.
But paper be damned. This is, unless they turn into the pumpkin and their shooting goes away, this is a team that I respect the hell out of. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, this is going to be an easy series.
Yeah, I do not think this is going to be an easy series. I do think I'm with you on the Celtics, just like on paper being significantly more talented, right? And I mean, I think I'm very curious to see how Tatum kind of coming through in this huge moment. It felt like, listening to him talk, it kind of felt like he had figured some things out about himself, right? Because he was talking about how he was like, I got too tight. I wanted to win too badly. And it's like, honestly, you could see it, right? Like you could see how badly he wanted to perform. And like him talking about like, okay, I relaxed. I kind of, I just kind of played basketball the way I would have played basketball at the YMCA when I was younger. And it was like, yeah, man, like you're a great hooper. Like you go out and hoop and you'll probably succeed because you're a great hooper. Like, so I'm curious to see how that manifests itself, because I think if Tatum is Jayson Tatum, capital J, I do think it could be a short series because like the Celtics talent level is significantly higher. There's a lot of holes in this Miami roster where the Celtics can just should be able to just, run right through them and
right.
But like you said, you can't make fun of Heat culture. I think you can make fun of the people like the fans sitting comfortably with their beer, going, yeah, Heat culture. Yeah. But like you can make fun of them, but the people involved in it, like the players and the coaches and everybody, like, nah, man, it is legitimate. And I'm very excited for this series. I think it's going to be fun. I've been texting you but once a day about how much I love Jimmy Butler.
Oh my God,
in this run, like
I'm surprised your son's not named Jimmy Butler, and not just like Jimmy or anything. It's fully named Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, right. One word. No. I mean, I've liked him for a long time too. Like I remember the first time. I remember when the Celtics beat the Bulls in beat Jimmy Butler's Bulls team in the playoffs one year, and I don't even it was one of my first years covering the team. And I just remember coming away. He didn't even play that well in that series. And I just remember coming away like, man, Jimmy Butler, like that dude is a bad man. Like, and he's only gotten tougher. He's only gotten more impressive over the years. So I do think that the Celtics have the better team. And if they we'll see what they've actually discovered about themselves, what they've actually figured out. But yeah, the Heat are tough, man. This is gonna be a tough one.
So I just feel like there are so many holes that they can attack.
There are so many.
I mean, you're telling me that you're not putting Kevin Love in pick and roll like tomorrow? Just finding a way, just Tatum and Brown just on motorcycles, finding Kevin Love walking down Beacon Street, setting up a hoop and just putting him in a pick and roll just to force a switch just on Beacon Street. Just Kevin Love and some random dude.
They're wearing one of those like those hoops that you
hoops on the head. Yeah. Like no, Luke Cornett has that. Luke Cornett's with them with the thing on it. Like that's
a pretty tall hoop.
That's like a 10-foot hoop. That's
you need Rob on that one.
Yeah. But you put Kevin Love in actions. You put Strus in actions.
Yep.
You can go at Gabe Vincent. You can go
absolutely.
Now these guys are, there are guys who are will work hard. They're going to play Duncan Robinson. Are you kidding me? You are going to play Duncan Robinson against the Celtics? Really?
Yeah.
Because that is going to be horrible for you. That's going to be the worst. Every time Duncan Robinson has ever stepped on the floor over the past few years, I actually think I've seen Jayson Tatum drool. Like he is just like, oh my God, really? Thank you. Send Spoelstra an edible arrangement. I really appreciate you giving me this matchup to attack. There's just so many guys that can be attacked. And I think I just feel like the Celtics, because they're so offense first, that fuels so much of what they do. If they get going against some of these matchups, then they're going to be flying around defensively. And watch out, because the Heat are going to miss. And if the Celtics are comfortable offensively, that's going to get out of hand fast. I think there's a real run, I'll call it runability factor in this series, where the Celtics get going early in the half court against certain matchups. They feel good defensively, and they don't even let the Heat get into what their strength is going to be, which is creative defenses against Tatum and Brown. I think the transition points are going to be the key here, and the Celtics can pile up what they couldn't do very often, except the third quarter in the last game and a couple of spots against Philly. They're going to pile up runs. You're going to see 15-2. You're going to see a lot of those runs for the Celtics, and if they can prevent those, then these games have a potential to get out of hand before Miami could even do the things that we're afraid of.
Totally. I also think, when you talk about the creative defenses to limit Jaylen and Jayson, like this, like the thing about the Celtics, right, is that they also have Malcolm Brogdon, right? They also have like these other guys who can still get buckets and can still attack you. That's one of the strengths of this team. And I think one of the things that's going a little bit under discussed right now is that, largely because he had kind of a quiet series against the Sixers, that Sixers series was a tough one for Robert Williams from a matchup perspective. The Heat are not a tough matchup for Robert Williams from a matchup perspective. They're actually a really good one when he's healthy. And
especially, sorry to interrupt, if Kevin Love is playing.
Oh, yeah, now, especially.
Because now you got Horford a place to go.
Yep.
And this now, yes. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, totally. I mean, and Rob, I think these first two matchups were both, I don't know, kind of tricky for him. Like he had a tough time, but I think he's looking still quite healthy, quite good. And like that, I think, was one of the reasons why last year the series wasn't, it was a lot more competitive than, that was one of the reasons that it was very competitive, was that I don't think Rob was
a shell of himself.
Even close to himself. Now he's a lot better off, and I'm curious to see how that goes, because I wondered how that series would have gone last year.
Rob was a shell of himself. Like you said, no Brogdon. It's 2. And Derek White was not the Derek White. And now Derek White didn't have a good series against the Sixers. No. I think the Sixers were too big and strong. For all of the greatness that Derek White has exhibited all season long. And it's not to say that he had a bad series necessarily. He hit some big shots.
He did. He really did.
Like even in that game 6, big keep hanging around for Tatum. Like the Tatum explosion at the end was the story, But mixed in throughout, I don't know what that sound is that I just made, but mixed in throughout was a shot from just a 3 from Derek White, a defensive play from Derek White here and there. Not enough to compile enough stats to make you say, oh, wow, good game. But timely, clutch. And I think going up against guys like, Max Strus and Duncan Robinson and those, like, he just has more, he has more of an opportunity to get going. And you want to know what one of my number one fears is right here? That Joe Mazzulla is going to see that and he's dying to not play the double big lineup. Like I feel like Joe is like, I know I got to do it. The guys love it. The guys love it because it gives them confidence because they know that they can gamble. They can play up on a guy.
Yep.
They know that they can get beat and Rob's back there to help them. So it gives them a ton of confidence defending on the perimeter. They know all that stuff. Joe knows all that stuff. But this is catnip, baby. And honestly, it's my biggest fear in this series.
Yeah.
Miami has a ton of catnip out there for the Celtics to really screw this up. They have the types of lineups where Joe Mazzulla can be like, no. I got to sit Rob. Like, no, play Rob. You play Rob in this situation. The Celtics against the zone have had historical problems.
Yes.
And every once in a while, we see it. The matchup hunting gets so out of control that the entire offense stalls as each guy, Jaylen and Jayson, are like, no, my turn. Oh, can I go at Duncan Robinson now, please? And like the whole thing stalls and it just becomes dribble. And hey, maybe dribbling 1-2 dribbles too much, Jaylen Brown turnover. 1-2 dribbles too much, Jayson Tatum turnover. Catnip all over the floor for the Celtics. If they can resist that, again, short series, but that's the beauty of Miami. That's the beauty of Eric Spoelstra. He knows this, and he knows to throw that stuff out there, and he's like, hey, this is our best chance of winning. We're gonna bait these guys into doing those things that people will say, why are you giving them this matchup? It's because we want them to drive into that matchup, late help from Bam Adebayo, get them caught too deep, take away their outlets, turnover, transition basket, is path to winning.
It is. But like, I mean, you said it before, right? Like, there's no Victor Oladipo in this series. I feel like that's kind of a big deal. Like, he played the Celtics really well. There's no PJ
Hero
Tucker.
deal.
Hero was a big deal offensively. Like
The Hero Adebayo pick and roll hurts the Celtics often.
It does. And just like, but like some of these defenders, right? Like one of the things the Heat do so well is like disrupt ball handlers on the Celtics. Like they did that, throughout that series last year. And like, just like a bunch of the guys who did that aren't going to be playing, this year, whether because they're on a different team or they're injured. Like, I don't know. All that is, but all of that is still to say. Like, even though I like the matchups for the Celtics, I like the I like where they're at, but Heat culture
takes 4 wins.
Yeah,
right. Takes 4 wins. The Celtics have the matchups, everything you need for 4 wins. The Heat have the potential for a Jimmy Butler win, a Bam Adebayo win, fluke 3-point shooting win, Eric Spoelstra win. They have the potential for 4 different wins. Can they get them all in a series? Now, I saw you kind of shake your head at the Bam. Like Bam, I think defensively can frustrate a team. And if Bam is playing like blocking everything and those mid-range shots that he's hitting that he's taking start to fall, and if he's getting the alley-oops and you just can't stop Bam, I think there's a potential for a Bam Adebayo game. Can you get all 4 of those in a series? That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
But a weird Spo, I don't know, he just quadruple teamed Tatum and it worked. I don't know how he couldn't get it to one of those open guys. Like a weird kind of defensive thing that frustrates the Celtics. I'm not getting the foul calls that I want and can just be a very frustrating, muck up the game type of thing. That's possible. Obviously, Jimmy Butler, we've seen him win plenty of games by himself. And I'm only saying 1. Strus, Robinson, Lowry, Martin, those guys, 2, 3, 4 3-pointers apiece. They hadn't been the best 3-point shooting team all year, but they have the capability to get hot.
They sure do.
So if you've got 2 big-time players, a big-time coach.
Well, not for nothing. Sorry, just to add one other game to that, you could also have the Celtics go 4 for, 39 from 3. Like,
we haven't even thrown in the Celtics botching a game, the Celtics going completely cold a game. So I can sit here and say, just based on the matchups, based on the paper, based on everything that I know, and based on the wild performances that they continue to get out of some of these guys, should be, if the Celtics sweep this series, I wouldn't be shocked. Because they have that ability, if they play like they played in game 7 for this entire series, they'll sweep Miami. Sure, they will.
Absolutely. However,
that's not the Celtics. That's not generally how they go. And the Heat, there's so much, again, because I respect them as much as I do, I'm willing to accept these other kind of outlier games, because even though they're the 8th seed and they've won 44 games, there's a possibility that the Celtics can face some of these things. So I think the Celtics are going to lose this series, because they should win this series, and they should win it easily. But if they go in thinking that they're going to win this thing easily, then they'll lose. And we're going to see an 8th seed go to the NBA Finals. And I just am going to lose my mind if that's the case, because this is all lined up for the Celtics. Beat the 8th seed, go beat that Western Conference that no one believes is as good as the Eastern Conference teams, and win your championship. It's there. Go take it. Go take it.
It is there.
So, all right. Well, any other thoughts on this? No?
Nope, I'm good.
All right. Well,
Heat culture.
Heat culture. All right. Tomorrow's going to be the crossover show. So much more on Celtics Heat. Basically, I let this podcast go about 12 minutes too long, because the first 2 segments were just kind of irrelevant, but just for me. So I basically made the 3rd segment a bonus podcast. So if anybody who's listening to this, who's made it to the end, wants to send word to everybody else and be like, hey, they actually spent 22 minutes talking about the Miami Heat matchup. If you want to skip ahead, go ahead. That's feel free. I don't care. Watch the whole Heat thing. Tom, appreciate you as always, man.
Appreciate you, man.
Hey, look, I'm trying to kind of bridge the gap. Don't be mad at me for taking a couple of extra digs at the Sixers. You know you loved it. Thanks everybody for listening. If you're a first-time listener, you made it this far, appreciate you. Lots of people listening to the show, lots of people coming up to me at the game, so thank you so much. Honestly, everybody, if you're at the game, on the street, you see me, you want to come say hi, please do, because I want to thank you for listening to the show and making the show what it is. This is a great time of year. A lot of new listeners. So thank you so much, everybody, for trying the show out. Hopefully you will subscribe, open up your favorite podcast app, subscribe to the show, get on that YouTube page, subscribe there, ring that bell, get notified when the video drops, hop in the comments section. Let me know what you think about what I've said, maybe something I didn't say, and share the podcast. Tell your friends and family that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.